What's up, everybody? It's Broken Bones here, and welcome to Broken's Bedrock Tutorials. Today, we're going to be showing you how to make the super compact clay farm. The super compact clay farm is super compact. As you can see, it doesn't take much space at all, and it's very easy to use. Simply stand in the AFK spot, placing mud, let it dry out, it turns into clay, the system recognizes that and pushes it forward. And because it pushes blocks out in a single wide block stream, it can be hooked up to the Universal TNT Blaster. And the Universal TNT Blaster will break all the blocks for you and store them down in your storage system. However, as cool as this machine is, you do not need it for this farm to work. You can use this farm independently and you can break the blocks how you like. There's big piston walls that turn all of your blocks into a giant cube, and there's AFK chopping chambers that you can use. However, in today's tutorial, I'm suggesting that you go ahead and build the Universal TNT Blaster. So if you'd like to build yourself one of these, then go ahead and click the link up in the top right hand corner. I'll leave a tutorial there for you guys on how to build the Universal TNT Blaster. And I highly suggest building this Universal TNT Blaster because you can hook up so many farms to it. We started off with the double cobble blaster and then the double basalt blaster. And then we moved on to making concrete makers and mud farms. And then finally in today's tutorial, we're going to be teaching you how to take your mud and turning it into clay, which is a rather simple mechanic. You simply place mud on top of dripstone and it sucks the water out and dries it out into clay. And the super compact clay farm simply detects when it turns into clay and shoves it forward. So if you guys are excited to get started with today's tutorial, then go ahead and smack the like button for me and subscribe if you guys are new, and let's get started with the tutorial. A material list will be down in the description. And before we jump right into things, I'd like to give a big shout out to Adjum84. He has suggested that we turn down the techno music that I like in my videos here. He says makes it hard for him to pay attention to the tutorial. So let me know down in the comment sections if you guys agree, if you guys like the music, or if you guys don't like the music, let me know down in the comment section. So to get things started, you do not need to chunk align this farm. It is so tiny, there's almost nothing going on here to chunk align, so go ahead and build it wherever you like. And if you guys want to hook it up to the Universal TNT Blaster, then you guys will need these piston pushers to get it connected. This design here can take blocks from the left or the right, and it shoves them out into a single wide block stream out the center. And then this one over here takes blocks from one side or above and shoves them out in that direction. And with those two piston pushers, you can pretty much hook up any farm to this Universal TNT Blaster. And in this tutorial, we left off right here. This is where the Universal TNT tutorial ends, and we did show you how to build these piston pushers. However, I've upgraded them, so we'll cover it again in today's tutorial. So if you're building the Universal TNT tutorial, then the main thing to remember is when you're starting right here at this piston, you want to be 12 blocks away in either that direction or that direction. So let's go ahead and show you. So from right here, you'd want to be 12 blocks away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And as you can see, our piston right there, that's the piston. There's 12 blocks in between that one and that one. And having the first pistons that far away ensures that the block push limit is reached before the blocks get pushed into that redstone or that repeater from either side. And then once you're that far away, you're going to want to build this one first. And then from there, you can pretty much organize these however you like. As you can see, I've got pretty much a zigzag of block patterns coming through here that are all getting pushed into my TNT Blaster. And even though you need to be 12 blocks away from that piston with this piston pusher, you only need to be 7 blocks away with this piston pusher. So as you can see, here's our piston right there. So if we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, there's a 7 block gap between our next piston. And that's because the block push limit is being reached from that piston to this piston. And since these two pistons are fighting with the block push limit, the distance away from these is going to be 12 blocks because you don't want blocks coming in here ruining your redstone or pushing your piston out of place. And so therefore you need to be 12 blocks away from these guys as well, so the distance is a little bit further. But now that you guys know the distances, let's go show you guys how to build these piston pushers. So today's tutorial, I'm going to be pushing my blocks into this piston pusher over here, and as you can see, my clay farm is right here, so I'm going to be building mine over here. So as I stated before, from this piston pusher, we only need to be 7 blocks away. So we're actually going to use this observer as our first block, and we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So now we're 7 blocks away. We're going to place an 8th block right there, and we're going to use a piston, and we're going to place it on the 8th block so that we have 7 blocks in between that piston and that piston. Once you have your piston in place, then you can go ahead and break out all of your temporary blocks, and now we need to go ahead and build ourselves a double piston just like this. So we're going to go ahead and place ourselves 2 observers facing backwards away from the front of the piston just like that. So the faces are up here just like so. Once you have that in place, then go ahead and place a block underneath your piston and one out the back. back. Go ahead and place one on each side of these observers right there, and place yourself some redstone dust in right there. Go ahead and come up a block just like that, and then go ahead and take yourself a glass block, and you're going to come right over here just like so. Go ahead and put redstone dust on top of both of those. Then we're going to take a temporary block and one up just like so. Go ahead and break the one out, and then place some redstone dust on top of there. Once you have that built up, then next we're going to go ahead and place a temporary block right here. We're going to grab ourselves a sticky piston, put it in the upwards position just like that with a redstone block on its face. Once you have that done, take yourself a redstone torch, put it down here, and you should see that anytime you place a block right there, it gets pushed out. So this is the first piston pusher design. The second one is much simpler, and again, from this piston pusher, we only need to be 7 blocks away. So counting from this observer, that's 1, then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. We're going to place an 8th block down, and that's going to be where our piston goes, and that way we can see that there's 7 blocks in between that piston and that piston. Then once we have that done, we can get rid of all of our temporary blocks. Then you need to decide which side the blocks are going to be coming in from. If they're coming in from this side or that side, then you need to build it in the opposite direction of what we're going to be doing now. So let's go ahead and place a block down right there, and we're going to place a redstone torch on top. Once you have that in place, go ahead and place a block on the side of that piston and a block right here, and then some redstone dust right here. Now this is going to work if the blocks are coming in from this side, and so as you can see, if you put a block right there, it gets pushed forward. However, if you have blocks coming in from this side, then you simply just remove this and put it on the other side. So all you have to do is go just like this and put some redstone dust right there, and now you can have blocks coming in from this side, and that's how you do that. And with those 2 piston pushers, you can pretty much position your farm anywhere within range of the Universal TNT Blaster. And now that you guys know how to hook it up to the Universal TNT Blaster, let's go ahead and get started with the super compact clay farm tutorial. To get things started with that, make sure that your piston is going to be pushing the blocks where you want them to go. I want my blocks to get pushed right in front of this piston, so that's where I'm going to put mine, and I need to be 7 blocks away. So we're going to go 1 right here with the observer, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, and then I'm going to place an 8th block because that's where our piston's going to go. We're going to place it in it right there just like that. And once you have your first piston in place, you can break out all your temporary blocks. Once you have your first piston in place, then there's one thing that you need to decide. You need to decide which side of this you're going to want your AFK spot on. Over here is my AFK spot. However, if you want it over here, you would just need to mirror everything that you see right here. I am going to be building it mirrored compared to this design, so my AFK spot's actually going to be on this side because I want my AFK spot to be mirrored from this farm. So if you want it to be on the other side, on this side, then go ahead and flip everything that I'm about to show you. So to get things started, we're going to come to your piston. We're going to come directly underneath of it, and then pointing towards your AFK side is where we're going to put this dropper right here. On the back side of that dropper, we're going to place in ourselves a hopper just like that, so we can have some items coming into it. Then once we have that in place, next we're going to go ahead and take some dripstone right here. We're going to place that in right there. Now, this does not have to be dripstone. However, the pointed dripstone is a must. That has to go down here, and you can use whatever block you want right here, and it will suck the water out of your mud. And then once you have that in place, next we're going to grab ourselves an observer. We're going to place an observer facing backwards away from that piston right there, and then we're going to come right in front of that observer. We're going to place one facing up just like that. That way, anytime a block comes in right here, it should get detected by that observer right there. And now, once you have your observers in place, go ahead and come around to your AFK side, and then we're going to place in a block right there, a block underneath, and then a block out in front of your dropper right there. That's going to be your AFK platform. You can break out that temporary block right there. Next, we're going to go ahead and take ourselves a lever. Go ahead and grab yourself a lever and some redstone dust right here. Go ahead and grab yourself that, and then you can place the lever on the front right here. However, if you don't like the way that looks, you can place it underneath or even on front. Somewhere on this block is where you're going to want that. Go ahead and turn it in the on position just like this, and put some redstone dust on top of it just like that. Once you have that done, come to the other side and place yourself in a 2-tick repeater. It does have to be on 2 ticks. Once you've got that repeater in place, then go ahead and come in front of that repeater with a block just like that. Put some redstone dust on top of it like so, so that way anytime a block goes right here, you should see that that redstone dust gets powered. Once you have that in place, go ahead and come up a block on the side of it just like this, right towards the back of your farm over here. Then grab yourself a sticky piston. You're going to place it on the side facing your observer with a block on its face just like this. That way anytime a block goes right here, you should see that it completes the circuit. Then once you have that in place, go ahead and come down here to this dropper, place a block in right there with some redstone down just on top of it. Then grab yourself a button. You can put the button right here or right there, somewhere where you can go ahead and hit the button. And then once you have that done, your farm is complete. You can go ahead and break out your temporary block, and then you're going to come right around to the back side right here. You're going to place in a barrel or a shulker above this hopper right here and make sure that you fill it up with mud. And if you guys don't have mud or you guys need mud, then I highly suggest building this farm, and I'll leave a tutorial for this farm up in the top right hand corner. Once you've got your mud going into your farm, then you can go ahead and come right around here to the AFK spot. And now, as you can see, we're in survival mode, so if we come right over here and we hit our button, we should get ourselves one piece of mud to go ahead and start our farm. If we hold down our place button, which for me is L2, you can go ahead and hold that down and it'll place the mud for you. It'll wait for it to dry out, and when it does, it'll push it forward and give you another piece of mud. Just like that, as you can see, the clay got pushed forward and I've got another piece of mud, and as you can see, it's going to continue to push forward. Every time it turns into clay, it'll push that block forward. So as you can see, some of the mud blocks turn into clay rather quickly, and some of them take a little bit more time than others. It's completely random at which speed that actually happens, so there's really no true rates to this farm. But after hours and hours of testing, this farm has proven to be reliable. And if you guys decide to build a Universal TNT Blaster, then it'll break all the blocks for you AFK-ably and put them down into your storage system. And as you can see, all of these clay balls do come in as clay balls, and they could be auto-crafted into clay blocks, which you could totally do here. And because of the way this farm is made up, I'm going to highly suggest that you guys put in some shulker box loaders right here, which I have some of those on my channel, one wide tileables that would fit in really nicely right here, and I'll leave a link to that tutorial up in the top right-hand corner. And that concludes our tutorial. This thing is super small and compact. It is super powerful considering that it does take mud and turn it into clay and pushes it out very reliably. It's not the quickest farm, but it is reliable and it works every single time. And because it is quick and easy to build and super simple, I know you guys are going to love this in your survival world. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed today's tutorial. And if you guys did, be sure to smack that like button and subscribe if you guys are new. I'm Broken Bones, and I'll be seeing you guys in the next tutorial. Take it easy, everybody. Thank you.